The 1854 London cholera outbreak was not the first of its kind. However, it was the outbreak that completely revolutionized the field of public health and introduced the discipline of epidemiology. Cholera is a bacterial infection. In the early 1850s, medicine and science generally relied on anecdotal information for treatments. Most believed that cholera was spread through bad smells. They thought that areas that smelled badly had higher rates of infection. When a person was infected with cholera, they experienced symptoms such as nausea, vomiting, fever, leg cramps, and irritability. The most significant symptom, however, is diarrhea. Typically, the stools of infected patients are yellowish white and have small white specks in them. This is referred to rice water stools because it looks like bits of rice are floating in water. In 1854, there was a massive outbreak of cholera in a neighborhood called Golden Square. No one knew what caused the outbreak or why so many different people were affected. What caused cholera and how did it spread? One of the people with this question was John Snow. He was an anesthesiologist who was respected in his field. The other man who took an interest was named Henry Whitehead. He was a priest in this area and knew many of the residents personally. He was the first person to form the idea that cholera spread through water. He visited homes of many Golden Square residents and began to form this hypothesis. John Snow began researching cholera deaths from his home. He would use death statistics published in the newspapers to track the deaths. After he found out who had died in that neighborhood, he would go and interview community members to build a profile of the death and try to understand how the person died. He studied the engineering behind London's water systems and found that two companies ran south of the water Thames to the Golden Square neighborhood. Because human waste was dumped into the water, he suspected that this was how the water had become infected with cholera. The issue that both men faced was the water source for Golden Square was regarded as some of the cleanest, purest, and best tasting water. People almost unanimously trusted and revered the Broad Street pump for its high quality water. As they tracked the deaths, both men confirmed their suspicions that cholera was spread through water. John Snow's significant confirmation was one woman who lived far from Golden Square. She had family members who lived in Golden Square. They would bring her water from the pump so that she could enjoy its delicious taste. However, she became sick and died of cholera. This was some of the best evidence that John Snow and Henry Whitehead used to confirm that cholera came from the water. With time, the community removed the pump so that the water could not be consumed. Henry Whitehead had identified the first case of cholera in the area. He found that the first case was baby. His mother had taken the baby's diapers and disposed of the waste outside her front door, just a few steps from the pump. The waste had become absorbed into the ground. Upon further inspections, some bricks from the well had fallen apart and the soil, contaminated with cholera-infected waste, had then infected the Broad Street pump and caused so many deaths. One of the most significant results from the Broad Street pump was not just the identification of the source of cholera, though this had major impacts. John Snow was one of the first scientists to use methodical, evidence-based research to understand a scientific question regarding populations and disease. Now known as the father of epidemiology, his work has improved the public health field significantly since. Another impact that the cholera outbreak of 1854 had was the introduction of sewer systems. With time, London eventually created a quality sewer system that still lasts. This provides cleaner living conditions for all and prevents the spread of disease.